think yourself lucky that we stopped there, yokel.
My lord, I beg you, we have nothing left.
Silence, woman! You asked for it. What? There! Seize him! What?
In your shoes, I'd give it back to them.
Have pity, my lord. Thank you, my lord.
That's enough. Go on, go away.
He'll be back. They always come back. Always. The Sheriff of Nottingham will never give up.
He will give up. Because the king will come back before this arrow touches the ground.
But who are you?
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's time for another fucking random game that I picked. So I had several games that I was gonna play, but none of them like worked. I don't remember what they were fucking called. Oh, Mirage. I was gonna try Assassin's Creed Mirage because I heard it was like a throwback to like the good old days of Assassin's Creed without the open world nonsense. Now I say that, and Assassin's Creed has always been open world, but it was never like Ubisoft open world slop. I don't know if I like that word. I'm not going to use it. It's not like the modern open world Ubisoft games that are all like the exact same game with like a different paint job, right? Like let me see your homework. I'm just going to change the name and like turn it in. Like literally just that. Like the only good one of those was the Egyptian one, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but if you ignored the fact that it was a Assassin's Creed game, it's a decent like fun romp. Like anything that had to do with like the assassins and stuff kind of sucked, but it was fun playing a game in like not even ancient, like 200, 300 BC, I think. Maybe not. When was Cleopatra around? I think Marcus Antony, I think he was 100. I'm not a big Roman guy. If you ask me about the Caliphate or like any of that kind of stuff, like the Mali Empire, I know a lot more. I know a lot of dudes are into the Roman thing, but I'm into like other empires that are less gay. Like the Mongols? Fuck yeah, the Mongols. Anyway, so I'm not exactly sure what era it was. Anyway, but it took place in Baghdad, and I actually saw like a video. I went to some museum here in Hawaii, and they had like a presentation about some of the artifacts that they used for that game, and I was like, oh, it looked pretty good. So I'm willing to give it a shot, right? Like I didn't play I played the Greek one, and I was like, Assassin's Creed is officially dead as far as I'm concerned, and it has been since then. But I heard nothing but like middling to good things about Mirage, like, so I was like, I give it a shot. But it like absolutely refused to work on my computer, probably because it's a modern game and it's Unreal Engine 5, I would assume. But I don't know. I didn't look that hard into it. So anyway, I just randomly, literally just like started opening folders, and the first thing that I saw that like piqued my interest on my like server, I was like, okay, I'll play that. So we chose Robin Hood, Legend of Sherwood Forest, which is like a Jagged Alliance style game. I don't know if you ever played Jagged Alliance. It's also Commando is one of these kind of games. It's like a real-time strategy game, sort of. You have like a team of guys you put together, and gals, and then they all have like certain abilities, and the goal is to like accomplish the mission in like the map. And this game does that, and it does a decent job. Like it's kind of like very funky, in that like I kind of enjoyed it. Like when I got a groove going, which was like knocking dudes out and then dragging them away and hiding them in homes and just like clearing out the map of like the Prince John or what's his name, or the Sheriff Nottingham's like men. Then it was pretty good, but like it would be so easy to fuck that up because you would just like not hog tie somebody in like a pile of people you were knocking out, or some random person would just like meander over to the area that like had no reason to be over there. Like there's all sorts of like funky stuff about the game where if you weren't like 100% on your toes or knew exactly like everything that was going on, then you could like really fuck yourself over. And kind of like the point of the game is to not kill anybody, but like that becomes like virtually impossible in some of these levels. And that at some point I was playing the last level, I think, and I'll get to when I get there, where I was just like I like did something and I was like, I'm not starting this level over again. I'm just gonna kill everyone. And I pretty much did. I killed like 70% of the population of like this castle trying to get Prince John so I can murder the sheriff. Anyway, so if you're not familiar with Robin Hood because you've been living under a rock for the last 500 years, because that was like the first time the story was invented, then the story of Robin Hood, it's about a guy who was like a noble. Well, I'm trying to remember, like the original story was just like a guy who like defended like the poor farmers from like the rich, like the government, essentially. He's like, Robin Hood is like the ultimate libertarian hero. He like robs from the government, like the tax collectors and the king and the prince and other nobles, and then he like disperses the wealth out to like the common man, because they're all a bunch of assholes, and they shouldn't be taxing, and he's, whatever. But then, there's so many iterations, and this iteration is very closely associated with the Prince of Thieves version of the movie story, which is a movie that stars Kevin Costner, who is one of my favorite actors, and I love that movie. And it also has Morgan Freeman as like one of my people, like the Moors. I mean, he's super black. Like my family is like Arab-ish, like more Turkish, but like fucking, he looks like he came from like Nairobi, like this motherfucker. And it's like, but he's wearing like Arab garb, and it's like, the fuck is this? That's not what like. And no one wearing that looks like that. You crazy fucking people. It's like, oh, it's so good. Like Morgan Freeman's like dark as night. Like, well, he's not that dark. Anyway, it just cracked me up. So, unfortunately, I can't remember the name of his character because it's been a while since I've seen that movie. But this game came out in 2002, and Prince of Thieves came out in like 98, 97, I think. 2002 is like when Gladiator came out in like 2000, 2001. So anyway, so it wasn't like the hotbed of all those like fucking epic movies they used to make that were awesome. That was like a great time for cinema for me. I'm not gonna lie, I love those movies. That Kingdom of Heaven, Robin Hood was kind of one of those movies that had huge battles and like it was all fantasy but kind of realistic. Gladiator, fucking Troy. God damn, those movies are so good. I have them all. I bought them all. Like I saw them so many times. It was excellent. Anyway, so that all aside from this game, kind of the gist of this is like, unless you're like really into being very stealthy and very sneaky and like spending a lot of time on these levels, like I think it took me like almost 30 hours to beat this fucking game. And the problem is, and that's fine, I don't mind. Like I'm playing a game right now called Chained Echoes, which is like a throwback to JRPGs. It's highly recommended. Like if you're watching this video, don't wait for my Chained Echoes video to come out. If you like JRPGs, I would play that fucking game. It probably costs like $6 on Steam last time I looked or something. Like it's made by one guy. It's one of those games, but it is like, wow, this is great. It reminds me a lot of Clair Obscur, where it's like Clair Obscur, it looks brand new, right? But that game is a hardcore throwback to like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era JRPGs. And it is like excellent. It feels so good to play, and it's, even though the story can be kind of janky, not Clair Obscur. Clair Obscur is like a masterpiece as far as I'm concerned, but Chained Echoes is like getting close. Like it's definitely like a B+, A- style of game. Like it is so good. But I'd go play that. But this game is more for those of you nerds who like to be like the master of like you like to be very pedantic and very like nitpicky about every little thing, and you can like you love like integrating like all the various systems. Like when it came down to it, I was using like 3 different attacks, but each character has like 3 attacks besides just like a regular attack. They have like 2 or 3 abilities on top of like their regular attacks. So all right, anyway, so we start the game with a fun little cutscene of Robin Hood. He's doing like a whole bunch of fun, like cutscenes of this are hilarious. They're so good. It's like CG of the era, and it's, to be honest, the CG is not much worse than a lot of the CG you see now. It's got more heart and soul, and the characters are more delightful, and it's more colorful, and it's so much better than a lot of the shit you see these days, to be completely honest. So he does like aerobatics, And he's like fighting these guys, some of Prince John's men, saving this peasant lady and her grandpa or father or whatever that they're trying to rob. And then essentially the game is broken into missions. So we start the game off. Let's see, I talked about all that. Oh yeah, so you start the game off, then eventually you get to Sherwood, and from there you can unlock like ambush missions, defense missions, assault missions, and just kind of regular like story missions. And you play through them all, and once you get to the end, you like, you know, you save the kingdom, and King Richard comes back, just like in all the Robin Hood stories, if you've never heard it before. Okay. The gist of a Robin Hood story, so you got the libertarian guy who's like robbing from the government and giving it to like everybody else and trying to like create like a libertarian utopia out in Sherwood Forest. And then what occurs from there is shenanigans. There's always like Maid Marian, who's like a hot fox in the Disney version. There's Little John, who's like the big bruiser guy. Sometimes there's Will Scarlet. He's like the cousin or half brother of Robin Hood in certain versions. There's Friar Tuck, who's like a fat drunk monk who's fucking awesome. And then there's always like the Sheriff of Nottingham is like the main bad guy, and then Prince John is like there or not there or whatever, right? And then there's always like a thing with overthrowing like the government, right? Trying to get the sheriff's like an asshole and wants to tax everyone to death and be in control and control everyone's life and have digital ID and whatnot. And Robin Hood's whole point of view is to like break that whole system down. So it's always some variation of that, right? I think there's like a modern, oh no, they were going to make a, it's always something along those lines. And then there's like the Merry Men, who are like the guys who live in the woods, who are like the band of the gang, the libertarian gang that like fights the government. This is pretty good. Okay, so in the first mission we start off, it's just Robin, he's returning home. So in this, like I said, this iteration is based heavily on the Prince of Thieves version, which might have been based on something else, but that's my first recollection of like this kind of stuff, where Robin Hood was like fighting in the Crusades, and then he came back from the Crusades, and he is like trying to integrate back, but then his father was like killed while he was gone, and like the whole kingdom, because like Prince John has been, and the sheriff have been like taxing the shit out of everybody and causing a lot of problems. And so now he's got to like figure all that shit out. So he learns that his father died of old age while he was gone, and then Prince John declared that Robin was dead, so then he was able to do the government thing and like seize his land without any consideration for the people that belong there, and then tax the shit out of them because government's always the worst and evil and illegitimate. So Robin heads to Godwin, who's his godfather. He's another noble like in the area, and upon arriving he finds that the castle has been overrun by sheriffs of Nottingham's men. So our first job is to sneak around and rescue Godwin. At this point, we get a tutorial about how the game works, all the advice. There's pretty much the game runs through scrolls. So there's two ways to like get through the game, the levels. Like you got to talk to beggars and you got to pay them money, and then after you pay them like a certain amount of money, they stop giving you hints, and then the hints like unlock these like scrolls throughout the level, and then you go to the scrolls, and the scrolls let you like accomplish parts of your mission or like find stuff or whatnot. But that is like essential. It's not like you can just like, well, you might be able to just wander around haphazardly and find stuff, but it seemed like if I went somewhere, the door would be locked until I found the beggar that was like, oh, the guy's in there, and then I'd go back and the door would just like magically not be locked. So that's really a core component of especially like the story missions, and like the ambush, defense missions, and assault missions. That was all unnecessary. None of that occurs, but like in the story missions, you gotta like find all the beggars, or not all of them. You have to find like certain beggars, because sometimes there's like 4 or 5 beggars. Okay. So we sneak around, do the tutorial, we fight some guys, knock them out, climb some ivy. We find some guards practicing archery, and then we can like do archery and trick them. And then pay for beggars, parchments, sneak around, find our way to... Okay, so eventually we find our way to the kitchen, where we find Edward, one of Godwin's servants. He mentions that Godwin has disappeared completely. And so the sheriff is taking over this castle, which seems sus as shit. And that... and then he gives us... We get a lot of side quests in this. So this guy's like, hey, there's a town nearby. If you can rescue my son, I'd really appreciate it. So then we can just like wander over to his son. And this is all like in the same map. This is like, we're not leaving this map, right? This is like a StarCraft map. And so then we can wander over the town to rescue him, and then he helps us escape and gives us some more information. And then let's see. Okay, and then when we get to the son and kind of talk to him, he tells us that Stutley, who's like a friend of ours from back in the day, that he was like fighting against the sheriff of Nottingham and doing all this stuff, and that they're gonna like behead him. So we should probably go take care of that. Oh no, he's being hung. Yeah, he's gonna be hung. And that takes us to the next level. So we head out to rescue Stutley, who's currently in the stocks. while the rest of the merry men, his like crew of banditos, are just like hanging out, being also getting ready to be executioned. So let's see, we pay a beggar. He helps us get the guards in there. We fight some guards. We learn a whole bunch of new stuff. We get to Stutley, and then we rescue him. And then once we rescue him, we get our first. So finally, it's not just Robin; it's Robin and Stutley, and then we get some of the merry men. And then the merry men. So there's like the named characters in this game. You can have up to, I think it's 5. Yes, it's 5 characters per level. And so for the first like half of the game at least, you're using mostly merry men because you get Stutley here. So now you can bring Robin to levels and you can bring Stutley, and then that leaves you 3 spaces, but you don't have anybody else. But then again, like I said, you eventually rescue like Will Scarlet, you rescue Little John, you rescue Maid Marian, you rescue Friar Tuck, and at some point it's just like you're bringing all like the whole crew. Right, you're bringing all your named characters because they have like more abilities than like the merry men. Even though some of the merry men are useful, and sometimes you want to use them anyway because they have different abilities. Right, so the merry men they're not like Friar Tuck is not like just a better version of like one of the merry men. He's got like different abilities. Now his combination abilities is better than like bringing he had like bringing like Friar Tuck and Little John essentially are you need once you get them, they're all you need for like the rest of the game. Everyone else is like superfluous because one of them like Little John knocks the shit out of people, especially if you get his combat training up, and then Friar Tuck like ties them up so they can't get away, and then Little John can like pick them up and then put them in like a house where they will never be found. And so that's like if you're gonna play like optimally, that's almost like exactly what you're gonna do. Now, Robin Hood can kill the shit out of people, and then I think it's Will Scarlet will if you knock people out, Will Scarlet can go over there and like stab them to death because he's kind of an asshole. Which can be useful, especially on that last level if you're just like over it. If you're over, because if guards find guys you've knocked out, so if you knock people out, there's like stars above their head, and then over time they'll just wake back up. And then if you tie people up, if other guards find them, they'll untie them, right? So that's why you have to hide them as well. It's like a whole thing. But if you kill them, then they're dead. And so you're not going back, or like all of a sudden you're like the level's going great, everything's going smooth, and then like one guy like you forgot to tie up wakes up, and then he gets like the whole castle like back to full force, and you're like trapped behind enemy lines, and you're like, God damn it, game. Which happened to me at the last level, which is why I ended up just killing everybody. Let's see. All right, so then we proceed forward from there. So once we get the crew, there's a lot of trial and error trying to figure out how this game works. So we like fight, move around. I do some like save scumming, like save. It's like I'm trying something. Okay, that didn't work. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Time to try something else. Yada yada. Just a lot of that, and then eventually we get out of this place, rescue everybody, and we escape out. And then Stutley's like, oh hey, come hang out with us. We're in Sherwood Forest, and this is where we open up Sherwood Forest. And Sherwood Forest is fun. Because here we have like different stations. So a lot of the extra moves and extra abilities your characters have, they have to use things to use them, right? So like Robin Hood has a trick where he can throw like a bag of money into a group of guys and they'll all like fight over it and beat each other up. And like Stutley has like, he can throw like a piece of fruit or whatever, and then if you throw it like at the guards, if there's kids running around, they'll like chase after the kids instead of like dealing with you or whatever. And so to get all this stuff, you can find it in levels, but also in Sherwood, you can like give people tasks to like produce items like arrows or whatever the game wants you to. So you take the crew, use the merry men that you've gathered, and part of the reason why you don't want to kill things, especially earlier in the game, is because the less people you kill, the more merry men join your team. And so if you can get a nice stack of merry men, that helps with developing items so that you don't have to find them in the level. And the biggest one is herbs, because herbs are used by one of the merry men and then Maid Marian to heal your character. So if they get into fights, they take damage, and then I can't remember, it's like the angry merry man, or the aggressive, I think it's the aggressive merry men. Well, they can heal your characters, which can make going through levels much more easier. So that's something you definitely want to have a bunch of merry men to take care of. So after we kind of fuck around in Sherwood Forest for a little bit, then we get our chance to learn about ambush missions. Ambush missions are important because we eventually learned that we need to collect 100,000 gold pieces so that we can pay the ransom on King Richard, which is why he's not here solving this problem. And so ambush missions are kind of the best way to get money because you can usually get 5 to 10,000, so it makes it pretty smooth if you do a few of these. Just you get money throughout the levels as well, like the story levels, but this kind of helps alleviate some of the need to grind. It's like grinding, but if you do ambush missions like periodically at the end of the game, when like you have the opportunity to send somebody out to pay the ransom, you don't have to worry about like grinding out a bunch of ambush missions, and they're pretty easy. And it seems like to me that you don't get like marked down for killing dudes in these missions, so you can just go like hog wild. Maybe you do. I don't know. I felt like I'd kill a bunch of dudes in these levels, and it would like your percentage of like people you've killed total like didn't really go down that much or at all from what I noticed. I wasn't paying that much attention, to be honest. And the ambush missions are kind of random. They always involve like capturing or knocking out a tax collector, or like they have fun little scenes. Like they always start off and there's like a convoy of like the prince's men or the sheriff's men, and they have like they're leading like a tax collector, or they're like there's like a carriage full of money, and then some elaborate trap will go off with like a giant log that just smashes the shit out of the carriage. Or like whatever, and then you guys like pop up and you got to like murder some more dudes and steal the money, and then you can just like nope out of them. So they're pretty simple. The only one that's hard is there's one like so everything in this game can be knocked out or tricked, or there can be some ability they can use against it, except knights that ride horses. Fuck those things. I think I knocked one out once just by punching it a bunch of times with like my whole team, but then it like got up pretty quick. So fuck those things. But outside of that mission, I think there's only one mission. Ambush mission with those, and there's only like the last level has like a horse guy, so they don't come up that much, but they're the worst hands down. After we do a couple of I think we did a couple of these ambush missions, it's back to the story missions, and the first thing we got to do since we rescued Stutley is now it's time to rescue Maid Marian. That's right. So we had to, I don't remember one of these towns. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 levels. And you keep going back to them, and you go to them at like night or different times of day, and there's different configurations of guards and stuff. But it's like there's like Nottingham, there's like Godwin's castle, there's like other homies' castle. I think there's actually 5 levels. So and there's like 13, 14 story missions. So and then there's like attack missions and stuff. So you go through them a bit. Anyway, we find a lady whose son's been killed by like the sheriff's men, and she wants to like give him a burial, so we go to rescue him. It's just like a side mission on here. Then we infiltrate the castle, talk to some beggars. We learn that the sheriff's nephew is here and that we can rob him, so we do that. And we rob him like every time we come back to this fucking place. We also learned that Marion does confessional every night with Friar Tuck, so we gotta sneak into the church, knock him out, and then Robin dresses up like Friar Tuck so that he can meet Marion and they can have like their cute little thing or whatever. After we do, her and Robin and Marion talk about how he's like the outlaw everyone's like concerned with, and then she's concerned from him. And then Robin says, all this should be able to be fixed. You shouldn't have to be an outlaw. We just need to meet with Prince John. I'll come with you. And then, because she's like a cousin of Prince John, I think. And so we're like, cool, sounds good. Oh, we were in Nottingham that time. So then we sneak out of Nottingham and go back to Sherwood Forest, agreeing to meet with Marion later to go meet with Prince John. But before we do that, it's time we find out that our brother-in-law, or not a brother-in-law, it's like a half-brother or something. It's like an illegitimate heir. Anyway, Will Scarlet's in trouble. Oh no, in this game he's the nephew. In other versions he's like a half brother or something. So anyway, so we got to rescue Robin's nephew, Will Scarlet, who's out causing issues or whatever, but he's under the protection of a local lord. So when the lord left to do something, the sheriff's men moved over, and so we head over to like help him now. We get a quest. Let's see. We clear out some more guards, sneak into the castle. I mean, every level's like this. We beat up most of the guards, rescue Scarlet. We chit-chat about how he's super aggressive and his aggressive behavior. We get like a little tutorial. Every time we get a new character, we get like a little tutorial through like the scrolls that are lying around about his abilities. So he has like a Morning Star, so he can beat the shit out of people. He has a shield to block arrows, and then he can like stab people to death. He can also strangle people. So one of the abilities Robin has is that he can go and like thump people in the back of the head so they're knocked out, right? So it doesn't kill them, but then we can like tie him up with Stutley, and then we can get like one of the big merrymen to like drag them, because we don't have Little John yet, into like a home. But instead of that, we can always have Will Scarlet just like strangle the shit out of him and kill him, which again, like I said, I used very liberally in the last level because I was like, fuck this game, I'm done with this bullshit. So I don't use him like the entire game until the very end, and I'm glad I brought him to the last level because I used him a lot to like murder my way through like the entire like royal guard. Anyway. Let's see. We also Robin tells him he needs to tone down all his like aggressive behavior or whatnot, And then he tells us about a secret passage out of the castle that we can get to, so we can get out of there. So we escape, and the secret passage goes to like a local inn, and then we head out to Sherwood Forest. So we do some more ambushes and stuff, and then we go to see the prince, and we got to break into like his huge fortress, because even though like Marion's helping us, we can't just like wander in for some reason. So we knock all the soldiers out systematically and work our way inside the castle so that we can speak with the prince. So eventually we work our way over with Marion to the feast hall, and instead of like walking in and talking to Prince John, we're like up on a balcony or something. So we overhear John has received a letter from this Leopold guy in France or whatever, and he's holding Richard, this is where we find out he's holding King Richard hostage for like 100,000 pounds. And he's like, good, I'm gonna let him die. And so he also doesn't want to let Godwin or Rudolph or any of the other lords like find out about this and try to ransom King Richard. So he tells the sheriff to tax everybody even more and then make sure that no one can pay it, so that eventually Richard gets executed and then he can be coronated as King of England. And this is where we learn about Randolph and how he's really pushing to get this ransom money, because he actually did hear about it. Okay, so he's not worried about it. He already knows. Randolph already knows. So then Marion and Robin talk about making contact with Randolph. So they head back to Sherwood Forest to plan that out. We then get word that the sheriff's men are harassing some sort of town nearby. So we head over there, rescue a bunch of people, including Little John. Hooray, the best character in the game. So it makes the game so much easier because he has a staff, so he can knock people out, and then he can carry people. So we need is him and Friar Tuck, and you win. Perfection. So then we do a couple more ambush missions at that point before we head over to Randolph's place. Marion joins us again for this little adventure. She's still not like a character. Like, so when you go to Sherwood Forest, you can like choose characters to go with you on missions. For the previous mission and this mission, Marion just is like automatically inserted. She doesn't hang out at Sherwood Forest or anything like that. Let's see. Okay, and so in this mission, because we're trying to get into Randolph, we're going to him. We're not fighting the sheriff's men or the Prince John's men, so we are literally not allowed to kill anybody, so we got to be extra super careful here. So we wander into the castle, knocking out people very systematically. We eventually get to Randolph, talk to him. He's upset that we're like an outlaw, that we broke into his castle and all this stuff, but then Marion kind of like calms him down, and he gets some understanding about everything, and he's like, all right, I get why you broke in, because there's no way I would have let like an outlaw just kind of wander in here or whatnot. So he wants to help, and we want to help him, so we all team up, but we need some more help. So we talk about Godwin and how Godwin disappeared, and so we need to find him, and once we have him, then we have two of the lords of the air, well, technically three, because Robin of Locksley, right, because he's technically the lord of his castle. So we need to go find him. And then we talk about how the sheriff seems to be involved in his disappearance. Also, we start finding like artifacts in the game. They're not really that important, but they give you like points, which if you care about that shit, I don't think it really matters or does anything. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but there's like a book here that is one of the treasures. And then you get like the best part about it is when you go back to Sherwood Forest after getting a treasure, you get like a little story with Prince John like freaking out. And this game has like voice acting, and the voice acting is superb. Like, it is so funny. It's so fucking fantastic. We come to learn that Godwin is being held captive by Guisborne or whatever, who is Prince John's like other right-hand man, or maybe left-hand man, because there's the sheriff, and then there's Guisborne, and those are like his two top lieutenants or whatever. So we need to rescue him and kick Guisborne out of his like castle. So we move through the castle. Halfway through, Guisborne notices us and summons a bunch more guards, and then he pieces out. But that's okay. We stay able to like rescue Godwin and free him and take back the castle. So he's super psyched to see us, and he mentions that he too that he's too injured to flee, but that we can go and get all of Guisborne's men, and if we can knock them all out, we can take the castle back, and then his soldiers will be free and whatnot. So then we unlock Guisborne's men slowly as we like wander back through the castle, and they murder the shit out of Guisborne's men. Godwin's men. They murder the shit out of Guisborne's men. Like very systematically, like as we like are moving around and we like knock guys out and we'll drag them away, and the Guisborne's men will like hunt them down and murder them. Fun. So we took care of that, and then it's time for more ambushes, of course. Finally, it's time to head over and rescue Friar Tuck so that we can get the last member of our crew. Technically, Marion is the last member that truly joins, but she's been around for a minute. So he has been spying for Maid Marian, and he finally got caught. So we have to head over there. There's lots of guards there, but because Little John is so overpowered, he just like destroys we just destroy our way through here. Get through the keep. Okay, then we got to sneak Friar Tuck out, and he tells us that John is here at the keep that he's being held at. So we go and spy on him, There's some like crazy shenanigans that go on, and then we get to the meeting. John declares Godwin a traitor and an outlaw, like officially, so that he can be attacked. What this actually means is that Prince John is going to send an army to attack Godwin. So we have to go over there and defend the castle. And this is the first time we get like a defense of the castle mission. There's like, I want to say, I only played 1 or 2 of these. I can't remember if there was a second. I'm pretty sure I did 2 of these. And the way these work is that you do nothing. You just literally like send some of your like you can pay money. Like you do not play the defense. You can either send some money, or you can send some. You can sacrifice some merry men for like a temporary amount of time. Or there's like another thing you can. Oh, you can go do some ambushes or whatever missions. So I just choose to send my merry men because at this point I have like 45, and I'm not using any of them. They're just like getting me herbs. Like I have herbs all over this fucking Sherwood forest to just like heal myself because I ever need it. Like I'm so overwhelmed with like stuff. It's like I don't know what to do with all this stuff. So we just do that. Then we do some more ambush missions because we need more money. We need to get that 100,000. And then next it is time to take Derby, which is one of the. So there's Nottingham, Derby. There's 3 others. I can't remember what they all are. Anyway, so the forces, so we take Derby with the help of Rudolph. And again, like before, when Godwin's forces were released and they just like massacred Jewish-born's troops, the forces of Rudolph just like roll in. And as we like move through the castle trying to knock guys out and be sneaky, they come in behind and just massacre everybody. So at some point I'm just like, fuck it, whatever. So they do a real fucking good job doing that. And then we get to the very end and then we have to duel Guisborne. Which takes a while because Robin is not trained in sword fighting because you have to take him on every mission. Oh, I forgot to mention, as part of like doing other things, you can also train on the bow and the sword, and you can go up to level 5. So John is like trained at level 5. Like most of my guys are trained at level 5, but Robin Hood is just like 2. So I go to these boss battles, and it's like a one-on-one duel. And this game is not like a dueling game, right? Like it's like trying to duel with like a space marine and like a zergling. Like it's like yes you can do such a thing, but it's very awkward and like it doesn't work out too well. The advantage that Robin Hood has is that in the middle of battle I can just like leave, get healed, and then come back, and the guy he doesn't like get his hit points back. So that's eventually how I beat him. So we do that, finally kill him for good. Fuck that guy. And then it's time for more ambushes, and then we have to, oh, here it is. Yeah, I already put this. Then we have the defense of Derby, which is the next defense mission. At this point, Robin decides to do the most logical thing possible and go and fall into a trap so that he can press a girl to get some pussy. So there's some big old tournament going on, like an archery tournament, which is obviously a trap because Robin Hood loves tournaments, and Prince John's throwing it, so he's going to be there, and the sheriff and Marion's going to be there, right? So whoever wins the tournament gets like the silver arrow or whatever, and which will be handed to them by Maid Marian. And so Robin's like, I haven't gotten any of that sweet, delicious juices up in my shaft muss. So it's time to get some action going on. And this level is hands down the worst. This is the only level, like I love cheating, right? I will defend it to the grave. I think it makes games better in a lot of cases because it gets rid of like grinding or like other superfluous bullshit. And then sometimes games are just like, come on, you're an asshole. Like... But then the story's really good or whatever, or it's just like I don't have time for this shit, man. Like I get it, especially with older games. Like there's some grind going on, but I'm not here for it necessarily. Like I got a lot of things to do. I have a short life. I don't need to like waste my fucking time with all this stuff. Anyway, I will continue to justify and talk about that for the rest of my life. In certain games, I do think that it ruins the experience or it's like completely unnecessary. So it just depends like my mood or how much time I got or, what's going on. If I'm truly enjoying the systems of a game, I will be less inclined. So a lot of times like the Soulsborne games or like some RPGs or strategy games, it's kind of like, nah, I'm good. I just want to play through this. Like I'm enjoying myself. But at any time it's like, oh, hey, by the way, if you want to do this thing, you got to go grind it out. And that was my thing with Clair Obscur. It's kind of a side note, like, because I did cheat a bit in that because the game has a lot of stuff that I wanted to experience, but I also didn't want to spend like 12 hours grinding levels or whatever. So I was like, I'm just going to boost my levels up and then I can go try all this shit out. Anyway, so that was good and I enjoyed it. I'm glad I did that. I really enjoyed it because the story of that is like, that game is a masterpiece. Anyway, this game is not. As I said, this level is awful. So I cheated, but it still took fucking forever. I don't remember what cheat I used. There's like in-game cheats in this. I really don't remember exactly what I did, to be honest. But I did something to make it a little easier, but it still took like fucking forever. And that is because you start off and you have Robin by himself, so you have to kind of like skirt out of there, meet up with Maid Marian, and then you can't knock people out really easily. You can't carry them away even if you can knock them out, and you can't like tie them up. And there's 3 merry men in here you can get, but they're all like super out of the way. So to like even get to them all is kind of like, it's almost like a waste of your time instead of just like skirting out of here and just killing dudes as you go, which is kind of like what I ended up doing for the most part. Anyway, it's so terrible. Let's see. Oh yeah, and you have like a fight at the beginning with Nottingham, which was kind of gay, and then we head over, rescue Marion, we clear out the town beggars, find a secret passage out of the castle, and then we're good. Okay. Let's see. Find a secret. Oh, clear out town, talk to beggar. Oh, okay. Gets kidnapped. Terrible. Okay, yeah. So after we rescue Marion and get out of there, we do some more ambush missions, and then Marion gets like kidnapped. And so instead of just being like hanging out with Prince John because she's one of the nobility, she gets kidnapped in a level and then forced into like a wedding with like Weisborn, that asshole who like ran away or whatever. So we gotta go rescue her. So we do that. We again, it's like do the beggars, find a secret passage into the castle. There's like some fun things you can do, like you can go in and like raise Richard's flag in like an outward keep. So there's like the main, I'm trying to remember which level this is. Anyway, in one of the levels, the main focus, like there's a big fortress, but the fortress is just like a giant church fortress, and then the actual like quote unquote castle is this tiny little dinky thing on like the other side of the map. So you gotta go over there. You raise the flag through like a secret passage, and then you like sneak back out that secret passage, and it clears up like all the like 20 fucking knights that are just hanging out in the keep. And in my head, I'm honestly like, I could have probably just taken care of that much easier with Little John and Robin and Friar Tuck, to be completely honest. Like, just gone in there, started some fights. John is like so overpowered, it's ridiculous, and he does this. All the characters do these like spin moves, so he can just like run into a whole group of knights and do like a spin move, and it'll knock out like half of them like immediately. And then he can just like start clobbering the rest. And then since they're all attacking Little John, and you can throw like Friar Tuck or somebody else in there too, then Robin can just like mosey on over and start knocking dudes out from behind. It's like so absurd. But the flag thing's fun, so I did it. All right, so once the guards clear out of like the church area so we can actually get over to the church, they also take Prince John away from the wedding procession and like hide him away, so he's gone. Then we assault the rest of them, and then we get to fight Weisborn in a duel. We kill him finally, and then Robin is all tuckered out, and Marion checks on him, and then is like, all right, time to get the fuck out of here. So then we have to club our way back out of this fucking level and then get to Sherwood Forest, where Marion and Robin fuck, presumably. So we do a couple more ambush missions as we do, and then find out once we're in the during like one of the ambush missions that we like, essentially you have to do at least 1 or 2 of these before the game will let you progress. And sometimes that happens. Like the game will not give you more story missions until you like hit I don't know if it's hitting like a point of treasure or whatever, because sometimes I just went from level to level, or it's just like random. It could just be random. I mean, people think about like, oh, with AI you can do all this crazy stuff, and I'm like, wow, with like basic algorithms in like the 1980s you could also do mostly exactly the same thing. Like try playing fucking StarCraft, which came out in like 97. Like that game is a masterpiece. And they didn't have shit all. They just like, hey, do this, and this, and this. And you had like quote unquote AI bad guys, but you know. Anyway. So, and there's a trick here in case you want to play this game, and because Robin has characters. So if you leave Robin to be like trained and do ambush missions, nothing's gonna happen. Characters only get better during story missions, and Robin has to be in every story mission except like this mission. So if you just leave him to like train and go do some ambush missions, and then he gets caught up, and you go and rescue him in like this next level, when he comes back, he'll be like 100 times. He'll be like double as strong in his combat capabilities. So after we do those ambush missions, we come back, find that Robin got picked up while out doing like whatever bullshit he's doing, some contact, checking on spies, I don't remember. Anyway, so now we have to mount a rescue, and Marion is finally here as official part of the team to lead the charge, and really leading the charge is John, Little John, and Friar Tuck. So we head over. There's a prison. Robin's not here. He's in the princess is in the other fucking castle. Jesus, fuck you. So we systematically knock out and hide guys as we move towards Robin. Once we get him rescued and we head back to Sherwood, we get a letter from our homie Alan, who we have yet to meet, but is important because he ends up, once we go help him out and rescue him, he ends up going and like taking care of the ransom for King Richard. But he's like, come to York immediately, please. So we head there, and he informs us that Prince John is meeting with his whole crew. So we systematically knock out all the guards, and hide them. I'm very good at this level, not gonna lie. Like I was very precise, and I like understand the game, and I didn't like mess up, so that was nice. So but it takes forever. So then we get there and we overhear that this the guy in the like Leopold or whatever, the guy on the continent is going to kill Richard if the bribe is not paid. And Prince John's like, good, finally I can be king. So he wants to send his man over there to confirm that he is not interested with the negotiations, right? And then so the prince and company clear out except for the guy. I can't remember who the guy is. For some reason I think it's Guisborn, but I thought I killed him already. But so there must be like another guy. It's not the sheriff, because we take care of the sheriff like in the last level. So at this juncture, we go in there, we kill that guy, and then we like take all his clothes so that we can give them to Alan, so Alan can sneak out of there, and then he can take our ransom money, which at this point we have like 114,000 royal crowns or whatever. So we have enough. So we give him the 100,000, and then he heads off. Let's see. So then we take the body with us. We can't just like hide it because they'll find it eventually. So John picks it up, and then we just like carry it out of the castle. And then we just like beat the shit out of dudes on the way out. We don't even hide them. I'm just like, whatever, fuck this. Let's get out of here. So we do that. Back in Sherwood, we get word from Rudolph that it's time to go immediately back to York and capture it this time. So this time we do. And we take over the cathedral and then move into the castle and everything and take it over. And this defense or this attack mission is kind of interesting because it's like, oh, you got to do this and you got to do this and that, and it's like, okay, and it's like you have to assault the castle and do this, and instead it's like, so when you're doing these assault missions, they have like banners, and each banner gives you like a certain amount of points, and you have to get like, I don't know, 8 points, and then before you start the battle, you can also like sacrifice merry men to like get you starting banners or whatever. And so I did that, and then I just went and like opened all the gates to the city, which gave me enough banners to win, so I didn't even have to touch the castle, which is kind of like cool, I guess. Anyway, it leads us to the last mission. This time we're gonna go nab Prince John and end his reign and kill the sheriff. I don't know if that's part of like the initial quest, but that's what we do. We kill the sheriff. So we get our whole team together. We get like Will Scarlet and Marion, and they are in the north of the castle hiding out. And then Robin Hood's just like sitting in the middle of the level with like a hood on, so no one knows it's him. And he's surrounded by guards. So like if he moves for like an inch, he's gonna get like jumped immediately. So okay, but thank God, Little John and Friar Tuck just happen to be at the south of the castle hanging out. And so systematically, I just like worked my way. So I spent a lot of time at the beginning of this. Like I knock everybody out and hide everybody, and I tie everybody up for like an hour and a half or whatever, right, with Little John and Friar Tuck. And then for some insane reason, I can't even fathom. So then I go into like the castle, and there's no way to like sneak around this. So I just kind of pop Robin Hood and then go in there with Little John and Friar Tuck and start knocking dudes out, but it sends like an alarm, and this is the level where there's like a knight riding around on a horse, and for some reason the knight on the horse doesn't come into like the main keep area. He like runs over to this prison on the other side of the level where I knocked out everybody and just left him in the prison, because like who's gonna just wander into this prison? And he goes in there and starts like waking people up and untying them or whatever, and I was like, what the fuck? And it's because, and this is what makes this game like stupid as shit, and why I ended up just being like, fuck it, I'm not doing this whole thing again. Because I was like halfway through the castle before that happened. That's the crazy, or the keep, right? Because the castle's like inside the keep. Anyway, that was the craziest part. Is like I'm systematically like killing, like knocking dudes out and like fighting dudes and going through. Like I'm like halfway through the level. So there's like the south part outside the level, or outside the keep, and that took like an hour. And then I'm like another half an hour in this middle, like taking out care of everybody like in the like the keep area, out like the city portion essentially, before we get to the actual like big castle. And then all of a sudden all these dudes start running in from the rear, and I'm like, what the hell? And so then I go back, and apparently like, because this happens sometimes, there'd be like civilians, and if they're wearing like green, they're friendly, and if they're red, they're bad guys, obviously. So at some point I guess I didn't like knock out a civilian or didn't notice them, and they saw what I was doing, and so they ran outside, and then like that set off this chain of events. And so every single person that I like had hidden in this prison, which was like a lot, because it was like there was like 10 guys, they all start running into the back, and then I'm in this like melee where I'm getting attacked by like 3 sides, and I'm like, fuck it. And then because then some of those guys are like they're like untying other guys that I had left at the beginning of the castle, because I wasn't like that meticulous, and then they start running around everywhere. It's like every bad guy in like the entire level so like descends upon this area. And so I just can't even. And so then I'm just like, fuck it. And so then I'm like, and then I keep knocking dudes out, but then I, like, with these fights, but I don't have time to, like, tie them up, because every time Fire Tuck tries to tie him up, like, he gets jumped, and so then he's got to fight, and then I got to have John or Robin come over and, like, rescue him and, like, knock guys out, and then the guys aren't, even if I tie them up, I'll, like, step away, because I have to fight, like, another round of dudes, and then other guys will, like, wake up, and then they'll start untying dudes, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then I just bring Will Scarlet in, and Will Scarlet just, like, stabbing as soon as somebody goes down, whether it's from Little John or, like, Robin will just straight up kill dudes, because he's got a sword. But if Little John's fighting people, I just have Will Scarlet, like, follow him around and, like, strangle people to death or, like, stab them. And it's like, the fuck you, game. It's like, and like I said, it's like most levels, I'll kill, like, maybe less than 10% of, like, the soldiers, and that's just, like, happenstance, right? Like, random happenstance. Sometimes it's like, I think the lowest I ever got was, like, out of 108 guys, I killed 2, just because, like, it happens, because they're fighting Robin, and Robin does, like, a critical attack or whatever, and it's just, like, they die. In this level, it was, like, 75% of people I killed. Like, I don't know who I didn't kill. Like, there was, like, a pile of corpses in the middle of this fucking level. The only one I didn't kill was the Horse Knight, and the Horse Knight I got hemmed up with, like, Friar Tuck in, like, a corner somewhere, and I just kept having Marion go over and heal him periodically. Because for some reason the horse guy couldn't do shit to Friar Tuck, but Friar Tuck couldn't do shit either. Like, he was dying slowly, and so that just went on for like ever. And then eventually I got into like the castle, and there's no way for the horse to get inside the castle because you have to go inside a room, and the horse knight can't get inside a room. And so then I had Friar Tuck like run to like inside the castle, and then the knight just like got pissed off and tried to like wake people up, but like again it was just a mountain of corpses. You can't wake up the dead. And I was like, fuck you, game. Let's see. Oh yeah, I killed 100 guards total. Like, the fuck, man. Anyway, at that point, everyone was dead, so I just moseyed my way on to Prince John, and then we have to have a duel with the sheriff, which kills him, and then John, like, surrenders, and ta-da, we win! And then we get word from Rudolph that there are some knights pretending to be pilgrims that are coming back, and so Robin goes to investigate.
Soon be there, my lord.
Let's stay on guard. The forests may not be safe.
At any rate, not for everyone, traitor.
Traitor? Can you use any weapon other than your tongue, you bandit?
On guard, renegade.
Good, isn't it?
Rise, good Robin.
Majesty, I am your servant.
What? What's that arrow?
The realization of a hope, your majesty. The hope that the king will return.